What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Power Play with CJ. Today we're going to talk about today's date, February 22nd, and what happened 32 years ago today, where Team USA beat Russia. Obviously, the miracle on ice, and it's been portrayed in the great film Miracle, and all that. And it really, you think about it. 32 years later, it's still number one in pretty much every list of greatest sports moments of all time. And Miracle was hands down by a mile, possibly the greatest movie, not just sports movie of all time. And it's pretty cool. You look at what that upset of the Russians did. That wasn't the gold medal game. They had to go on to beat Finland 3 days later. We know that, or 2 days later. But you look at what it inspired for USA Hockey for the next, 32 years. I mean, think about it. They won the silver medal 2 years ago behind a, Jim Craig-esque performance from Ryan Miller. And you say to yourself, wow, even going back further, the 2002 team that won the gold, guys like Tony Amonte, Jeremy Roenick, Brian Leach, Richter, guys like that were, 7 and 12 years old when the Miracle on Ice happened, and that, vaulted them into, the dreams that, we can play in the NHL. Yes, we can, even though we're Americans, be successful at the game of hockey. And Roenick pretty much said in an interview a couple years ago, that was the moment I decided I want to be a hockey player, professionally. And, that was, even going further, Mike Modano said the same thing. That's Modano became the second American drafted first overall a couple years later. Let's not talk about the first American, Brian Lawton. He doesn't like me personally, and was a major bust in the NHL. In fact, if he was brought the same intensity he brought at calling me out for a wrong tweet, if he brought that intensity to hockey, maybe he wouldn't go down as one of the greatest busts of all time. But good on you, Brian Lawton. But back to the good stuff. Look at that team. From a talent standpoint, obviously Craig had to be great. Ramsey played in the show for a while. Broughton was very good in the NHL. Mark Johnson played in the NHL. O'Callahan had a good career in the NHL. Silk played. I mean, a lot of guys played in the pros. But, in comparison, the 1984 team had, Al Iafrate was one of the best American defensemen of all time. Chelios is a Hall of Famer. Eddie Olczyk was great. Pat LaFontaine's a Hall of Famer. I can sit there for hours and name that roster. But, Herb Brooks got the most out of that team. And you look back at it and you say to yourself, wow, that I think everyone that was alive at that point in time can tell you where they were when Mike Ruzioni scored that goal. It's one of those things. Everyone can tell you where they were when Kennedy got shot. Everyone can tell you where they were when 9/11 happened, and I know my grandparents could tell me where they were when Pearl Harbor happened. So, it ranks up there with the big-time events in American history that you say to yourself, you look at the downtrodden economy we were in at the time, which, we still are, and, the hostage crisis in Iran, the Russians invading Afghanistan, all this shit hitting the fan in the world, and for one hockey game, the world was able to escape and really feel good about themselves. Americans were, and I think that's something you really can't put a price tag on. That's the euphoria of being proud to be an American is one of the greatest things in the world, and I think, it's kind of, it's almost so cliche because you can beat it into the ground repeatedly because it's been 32 years, but watching those old tapes is amazing. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes, and obviously that was Al Michaels' greatest call, and I really, well, I can't. Miracle is one of my favorite movies. That goes without saying, but it really, it's kind of like, well, in our generation, everyone can tell you where they were when Osama bin Laden got clipped, which I think must feel just as good, if not better, than the U.S. hockey team beating the Soviets. Anytime you can put a dictator 6 feet under is a good thing, or a terrorist, excuse me, same difference. But it just, you think about it, and 32 years later, it still reigns supreme in terms of everyone's favorite moments in sports, and you really can't, no superfluous adjectives needed. Al Michaels said in the pregame show, but that's all I got to say. Hopefully the 2014 team, even going further, the modern generation of U.S. hockey players, the Pat Kanes, Zach Parizis, guys like that of the world, Jack Johnson, Eric Johnson, and Timmy Thomas. You got a goalie, one of the American goalie, one of the Vezina, Conn Smythe, and Stanley Cup last year. The year before that, Kane scores a Cup winner for the Hawks, And I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come. I look at the advent of the United States National Team Development Program and Ann Arbor, Michigan, and producing so many great American talents over the years that has gone on to contribute to Olympic teams, as we saw last year, 2 years ago, excuse me, it's been that long. And I'm really excited to see what the 2014 team has in store. Excuse me. There's some great American prospects coming up. Jacob Trouba is going to be a top 10 pick, the young defenseman. I think he's going to be the next Chelios in terms of being a preeminent two-way defenseman for U.S. national teams for years to come. And like I said, I'm real excited. That's it for this episode of the Power Play with CJ on USA Hockey and the American Lawn Ice's 32-year anniversary. Stay tuned for more episodes throughout the season. Later, guys.